Hi, I'm Meenakshi Shedde. I'm film critic and senior program advisor South Asia to the Toronto International Film Festival. We are here at TIFF with a fantastic team of thank you for coming that set Toronto on fire last night. Well, super. Big congratulations and thank you to each of you. That's Anil Kapoor ji, the big star producer in many roles. This is of course the one and only Ekta Kapoor, also producer. This is Bhumi Pednekar, the big star of this film, carrying it very daringly, and that's Karan Boolani, director, debut feature. Anil ji, would you like to tell us about your involvement in this film, producer and actor, and where this stands in your huge, massive body of work? Where does this film stand?
Well, it's very special, and it's becoming more and more special. And last night was, I think, something which I will cherish all my life. And as I said, you know, Rhea and Ekta, their collaboration, मैं तो हमेशा बोलता हूँ कि नज़र ना लगे. बहुत कोशिश कर रहे हैं लोग नज़र लगाने की, मगर मैं होने नहीं दूँगा.
That's so amazing. So thank you,
Producer on the film along with Ekta ji, please.
So Rhea is an incredible voice, and I think I think from you have to transcend to becoming empowering after getting empowered so much. And for me, Rhea came with this script and she wanted to metaphorically discuss the choices women make and the amount of pressure put on women if they make choices for themselves or choose themselves ever. And it was about a woman's journey to find herself, and there was the metaphor of the orgasm, and I was like, how can you be so smart?
Yeah.
And if you're so smart, how can I not be joining and partnering with you?
Wonderful. It's really also in your body of work, it's like really
It's fantastic. I always tell everyone, I put it on my wall also, that Rhea is a fantastic new voice. That there are times when I actually am amazed of the gravitas and the wholesomeness she brings to even me, because I think I'm too focused, you know, and people who are too focused need people with perspective. Yeah. And she brings so much perspective to my focus. I just love her voice.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
It's very unique and quite daring in the mainstream space, but still saying it's experimental in what it is saying, but while all the time having it mainstream and very accessible. And was that a tricky balance for you?
It was, because see, there is always the business side of films, which when the sales come in and people come in and they're like, you've just finished Veere the Wedding, which has done so well. Every big star is waiting to do the next film you guys make, and here you want to go and make this really brave film which talks about sexuality. No female actor worth her salt will sign on to it. And that's what I'm going to come to when Bhumi, I actually said I love it. I was like, this woman actually has not only beauty but has a lot of brain,
and
you
guts,
know,
lots of guts,
and bravado. But for Rhea and I, it was very important that we do not want to, while we want to support the business, and it's really tough at times when the sales guys come back and say, you know, because of the sexuality, it's prohibitive to a certain audience. You have to learn that it's in these spaces that you find super success.
Yeah. No?
It's not in spaces where the tried and tested and you walk the typical path. It's in the not tried and tested, in the slightly risky spaces where you find super success. Suddenly you realize that there's a huge moment of gratification and validation that will come when you feel most unsure. Wow. And this film makes you uncomfortable and yet is so comforting. So I was like, I have to make it. And we had a great sales team. Anil sir's team did a brilliant job of making it in budget. Karan brought such good looks to the film without making it too ostentatiously expensive. And the sales team said, so we looked at the business should not affect it. We actually, with a very small number, will be considered a huge hit. And we are at the Toronto Film Festival, sitting with you, getting your love. So this is great for me, and as I said, brave actors, great new voices, how can I not get involved
Fabulous.
and work out the business?
Absolutely fabulous. Bhumi, your international success has been very, very, very long overdue at a festival. You've been doing a lot of risk-taking work for a long time. What did it feel like to you last night to have the roar of the audience, but also the question answer? They were relating so much to small details. They totally got all of it and were into it. What did that feel like?
I think I waited. It's been 8 years since I've been acting, and I've honestly waited for that one film that just gave me an opportunity to put myself out there in every way possible. I've been very fortunate to have had some fantastic characters come my way and some phenomenal films, and I'm a product of those unconventional choices that I've made. But when I heard Thank You for Coming, I was like, this is one film that I relate to the most. Because I, as an independent young girl living in the times that we are living in, just existing is difficult because every choice that I make is questioned.
Sure.
So it was the first time that I found representation in a script. So I jumped on it, and I feel like it's probably some of my most uninhibited work. Comedy is very, very tough to do. It can really go wrong. It can become unbearable at times if not done the right way, and that's where I had Karan's support. Exactly. He just made sure that we did not go off the path that we were supposed to be on. The film is
Tell us briefly what the film is about.
Well, the film is, according to me, I feel the film is about a 30-something girl it's her coming of age. It's her self-acceptance. It is her loving herself, because through generations of conditioning we've always been taught, okay, we need somebody else to make us feel complete. We need a provider, we need a protector, we need somebody who we are dependent on. But that's not the case, and I mean Absolutely. Emotionally as well.
Sure.
But I think what the larger theme of the film is that somewhere you have to find that joy within yourself, because nobody can make you feel happy. You're happy. You are responsible for your happiness. You can't burden others for it. The film celebrates womanhood, sisterhood. One of the themes that the film also touches upon is shame. Just, how women through years have been shamed for most things that they've done. Sure. Sexuality, desire, ambition, independence, just having the want to live their life. The writing for Thank You for Coming is maybe one of the best that I've come across.
Really marvelous,
To speak of a subject that is so sensitive, that can be trivialized, and just there can be a lot of negative connotation attached to a lot of things that the film is trying to say, but it's the writing that kind of keeps the film safe. See, it's a very, very sensitive film. The way the makers have protected this film, I have seen Rhea. The only thing Rhea told me is that, look, Bhumi, this film needs to be protected. This film can't be treated like any other film that you and I have done. Of course, I have my own personal reasons as an actor, because this is by far, I believe this is maybe one of my most mature performances, and also a great opportunity for people to see me in a different way. But also, just as a woman living in the times that we are living in, I want this film to reach the right audience. And I want this film to be lapped up by large number of people, because this is not a film meant just for women.
Not at all.
This is a film that's meant to be enjoyed across generations, across genders. So it's sensitive, which comes from him. He is so brilliant. I mean, I just remember all our conversations and how he just made sure that he got in the gravitas. Radhika and Prashasti, the writers of our film, they are such brilliant women, and they are so talented, and it's so refreshing to have a script with the female gaze.
Totally. So this is Radhika and Prashasti Singh that she's
Yes. And Rhea, as Ekta rightly said, she's a visionary. I have found such a great friend in her, and like she does in Ekta's life, she gets a lot of perspective in my life as well, because as an actor I think of things in a very unilateral way. my this, my that, but she's kind of taught me to embrace the film and become a little more large-hearted. You know, she makes you secure as a person, and she just knows her shit. She is so intelligent and so sharp, and I've honestly not met somebody like her. I mean, I can keep going on because Thank You for Coming has a piece of my heart.
So beautiful. That's lovely. Karan, you've been doing PhD in Australia in film theory and film studies and a whole lot of stuff, a lot of academic stuff which is not normally associated with Bollywood, and a much larger view of world cinema and stuff. So what was the time gap between your studies and this first film? And how did your understanding of world cinema inform this film? Because it's really very different from anything we've seen. So I'm wondering if some of that has informed this film as well.
I mean, I met my wife right after college.
Okay.
So a lot of things changed.
That's
My
Rhea
perspective
Kapoor.
of cinema changed quite a bit. Oh, I won't say changed, I would say challenged.
Yeah.
And this is my first film, and I've been trying to make a film. We've been trying to make a film for a while, and there was a film that we were very close to shooting, and it fell apart. And I think what happened through that process is that we got stronger, and we started to respect each other more, and started to hear each other's point of view more, and open a way of communicating with each other that just helped us reach this stage where she could develop a script with me, and I respect her and trust her in that process, and just go get into it. It's my first film, so there's not much I can actually say. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of films in college, I've written about a lot of films, but at some point you've got to forget all of that, I think, and that in fact is the time it took to make my first film, till I actually forgot everything that I studied. And just kind of made or connected with what I felt I would like to watch, and not so much what was great and good and had this language and this pacing and this tone and that structure, because it can come in the way,
I understand. So getting out of, letting go was part of.
Yeah, we were seeing, in college, and when you're young, you're seeing a lot of films and you're talking about a lot of films, and I don't think, I hadn't really seen too many romantic comedies till I met Rhea, and we found a middle ground with a few of the romantic comedies that we enjoy. Moonstruck being one with Cher,
Nice.
Birdcage, Mike Nichols, Bridget Jones. And we would always talk about these. We would always talk about these and say, the thing that these had was that it was saying so much, but without making you feel heavy.
Yeah.
And I think that was because I wanted to make something heavy and she wanted to make something light, and we say, okay, where do we meet in the middle?
Nice.
Yeah.
I think meet in the middle is so beautiful.
It's a tricky one, but it's really pulled off well in the film. Anil, I wanted to ask you, so you have a massive body of work, but also some of your standout films have been completely in the international space, with Slumdog Millionaire, Mission Impossible, etc. You've been many times to Canada, to Toronto, and shot many films and done shows. Does some of that international sensibility, I keep asking because I feel this film really has a wider perspective, not only in its honesty in talking about things, but how it is approaching this. And I'm wondering if that wider exposure, and also, since it's selected here, this of course came later, in appealing to a large international audience, not only in India, was that part of your being a producer and an actor in the film?
You see, I go with instinct.
Yes.
I go with gut. I don't know how to intellectualize things and be academic about it. I just see a film and I see it with my, as an audience, with my heart. And I cry and I laugh. A lot of filmmakers love working with me, and the reason is because when I'm, they say you laugh at your own jokes, or or you get excited, because I that's the way I am. So after the first cut, and then of course then everything was put together, with everybody put their minds together. How it is, you make a film, that's a honeymoon period, when you shot the film. And when the film comes on the editing table, that's the time you start panicking. I said, does it work? Does it not work?
Yeah.
Then ultimately, I think, we saw the film and I saw the film, and they've had the edit, as he said, on the second floor. They stayed one floor and this edit was there. So I saw the film and came down. I think Bhumi was there and I think Karina was there. Everybody was sitting down over there. I said, I saw the film. I don't know. I said, I think this film, when is the film releasing? I said, now in a few months. I said, I think it should go to Toronto. This film should go to Toronto. And I just saw it and they looked at me. I said, कैसे करें यार? मैंने बोला मुझे नहीं पता कैसे करते हैं. हाँ, मुझे नहीं करता. ऐसे Karan, ऐसे आप करो. ऐसे then I think he spoke to you, and you also very brutally honest. Yeah. I said there's a kind of what do you
info. There's a
application. I said do that, and that's the way process started. So what happens is sometimes you read a script, you listen to a script, and कि कुछ है इसमें स्पेशल, कुछ बात है. वो पता नहीं मैंने कोई सीखा नहीं है या मैंने कोई ऐसा there's no that I've learned or something. It just comes. I just feel it. I just felt that this film has gotten a wide audience. And let's go for it and let's try. And if it happens, it happens, and the film flies.
Yeah.
It has its own wings. You do it honestly and the film flies. Right. And sometimes it doesn't. Then you make your next film. And if that doesn't happen, then you make another film. And just so another one. So I believe in doing my job, doing it to your best and move on to my next. And but I feel that the film, shooting a film, then the post-production and then the release, you have to take care of the film till the end of it. Even after the release of the film, you have to protect it, because there are certain films which at that moment might not have those kind of legs. Sometimes it happens that way also, but you should not get disillusioned by that.
I believe it has already cleared the censors and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and you make a good film and you do it honestly, and you have just purity in your mind when you make the film. You believe in the subject and it just does fairly well, but everybody's going to gain. There are a lot of tangible benefits. There are times when you make a film only to make money and you feel it's a commercial film, and if that is a failure, उससे जो आपको नुकसान होता है ना, it's इतना नुकसान होता है for a producer, for an actor, for a director. It's so damaging. So it's always better to,
when the film makes a loss.
Yes, so it's always better to actually try to be part of good films. And you keep on, that should you should always pray to God that these kind of films and these kind of filmmakers and these kind of producers and all good people come together and do these films. And I felt that this film has got that potential. Let's see where this film flies.
So delighted. Ekta ji, you've had another massive body of work, very diverse in television and film. As you could tell from the huge public roar, people who are very loyalist to your Saas Bahu and the Nagin stuff. But you've also done, and the in-joke references in the film, which the audience was really roaring at. But also a lot of independent work and Anurag Kashyap's Dobara and Dibakar Banerjee's films, etc. So for you, where does this film stand? Because you're not known for this kind of film, but you could tell clearly from the audience that they totally connected to the risks that you were taking at many levels with this film. Tell us what were your biggest concerns in terms of risk, what you were not very sure about, and what the audience response told you last night.
So I actually have serious thrill issues. I need to do things which make me feel uncomfortable. I don't know, it's a problem. And my thrill partner. I remember during Urta Punjab, my father called my mum up and said, I've gone to Tirupati when I was going to come back. They had already told the producers we are backing off the film. It's too controversial.
Oh, wow.
And I came back and I told my dad, I said, if I back out of this film, I'm resigning from the company.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, this is going to
wow.
cause you a huge amount of damage. And I said, I don't know why, but it's sounding exciting.
Udta Punjab was so fantastic.
I was like, we
Yeah.
need to release this film. I need to be there doing this. Otherwise, I'll become a box. I'll be in a box. I'll be making money. I'll be sitting at home making, and I'll become a factory. I'll become a production house. I won't be a human being anymore.
Oh, wow.
And you know, I need to like, and every few years a film comes around and it wakes you up and it makes you smell the coffee. And like, I could be making a lot of television, a lot of commercial successes, but till today, if anyone looks at me and says, you know, have you done anything that you're really excited about? I said, it's, yeah, of course. I've done Lutera, I've done Udta Punjab, I've done LSD, and now I'm going to add to that, I've done Thank You for Coming. So I mean, I'm very happy that I would always try to do films that are shown in the city that people would not want to pick up because it would make somewhere no sense to them. But to me, it makes absolute sense that there has to be different parts of us and different gratifications we derive from different content, you know. Some are there to make money, like he said. Sir said, you can lose money on the movies you made to make money on and feel so sad.
Yeah.
And there are some films you just make because you're like, you know, it may not make money, but many years later, if it's a safe call, it will definitely bring me a lot of intangible benefits.
Yes.
I mean, at least I want to stay relevant in life.
Absolutely.
And relevance has got nothing to do with your commercial success. It has to do with your voice.
Fantastic.
You know.
You also said something very beautiful last night about women seeing it with their mothers.
Yeah.
And about learning from each
Yeah.
other. Can you just share that?
But it's very true, you know. Actually, it was very funny. It was like somebody had told me this, and when I was like very young, I didn't understand the meaning of it. That till a certain age, you learn from your parents. After a certain age, you teach your parents.
So beautiful.
And it actually is true, you know. We have to educate our parents about a lot of things they believed as normal. Suffering is normal. Going through sacrifices is normal for our mothers. They need to know. Like, I remember my mother, when she saw Veere the wedding, she came out and first she was confused because of people saying, you know, always if they're women and they're living their lives, so many problems with that.
Yeah.
And she saw the film and she came and she said, you and Rhea really born in a better time than I was.
Oh.
This is really making me feel like, you know, I wish I could have had so much fun. I felt so bad.
Oh, yeah.
I felt so bad. I said, oh no. I said, I don't even know what our mothers have lived because it's supposed to be like this. So, I mean, it's time girls take their moms and say, you know what, this is not just about an orgasm. This is about choosing yourself, mom. You know what? You can be an alive person and not just an attachment.
Yeah.
And not just an enabler. You can enable yourself.
Fantastic.
You know?
This is fantastic.
It's
That
true.
was lovely to hear. So lovely to hear. I think you should really have, we were discussing a little bit, an impact campaign for this film where it opens up discussions. Because it's really doing that, so something like that.
You know, the vagina monologues, I had told him this, that it had the similar impact on me when I had seen it. I mean, it's not about the vagina only, and same here, the orgasm and the attachment to different female emotions. So we actually want to cut a promo. We feel a lot. After last night, so we're feeling a lot.
Yes.
Thanks to you.
No, it's a huge honor, and also it's such a diversity of Indian cinema that was here, and this is like a high point for us.
So lovely to have people promote Indian films because there's so many young voices. And thank you, Meenakshi, for doing that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bhumi, I wanted to ask you if, so there's a lot of very, very, very deeply personal stuff there's dialogues, and I mean there is whatever. And could you share anything about your relationship with your parents or when you were growing up years? Because I felt you were very invested in the role and very uninhibited, and it didn't feel to me like a switch-on thing. It came from a deeper space, I felt. So can you share with anything, emotions or experiences that you brought to yourself that you invested into the role from your life? Or even maybe at the script level, maybe you discuss things with Karan and the script writers.
You're actually absolutely right, because there are so many instances from my own life that I've channelized into Kanika Kapoor. She actually is an ode to all my friends, all my female friends, because we all have gone through a series of heartbreaks, questioning ourselves, confusion. Every time you set out to do something, the first thing you hear is a no. When I read the script, I was like, okay, it's her grandmom and her mother. I was like, it's me, my sister and my mother. So when I lost my father, I was a teenager. Obviously, like any other family, we were completely distraught and we just didn't know how to restart life. And at that time, I wanted to join YRF. And everybody in my family, in my extended family, is like, no, let her take like a conventional path and proper job. How are you guys going to feed yourselves? Because we were really not in a good position. And my mother is like, no, my daughter will do what she wants. And she empowered me, or everything that my sister wanted to do. We really came together as a family to kind of fill up that space of loss into each other's lives, but to make sure, and my mom took up that space, she had to make sure that we didn't grow up with any fear, because the first thing that people try and instill in you is fear, because the protector wasn't there anymore, the provider wasn't there anymore. And I've seen my mother work her entire life, so for me the equation of what a woman is supposed to do has always been quite unconventional, and thank God for that, because I grew up being not very happy with my mother, because I would see like other parents come to school and I did not have that. So I would always question it, but today I realize, oh, thank God I've seen her work her entire life and this ambition comes from her. I haven't bullied in school a lot, so there were so many places in Kanika's life that I was like, there are so many young adults that don't have an outlet because they are bullied. And what you go through in school actually shapes up a exactly, it's your core, it's your basis, your complexes, your value. If you devalue yourself, your worth, your self-worth comes with your experiences as a young adult. Again, I was very fortunate that I had a home to go back to that told me, no, you are beautiful. That's why today I'm here as a leading lady. But a lot of people don't have that, and I would be completely heartbroken and embarrassed, and I was scared going to school. Even though at the face of it I was very strong and I was like, I can take on the world, but when I internalize it and when I I realize it today that there is a lot of emotional baggage that I have also dealt with, but I probably didn't realize it then. Subconscious. So there are so many of these instances. I am 33. I already have so many people questioning me, okay, when you're going to get married, when you're going to have children, and I'm successful. I had so people are like, you should like find a good rich boy, and I'm like, I am the rich boy.
Settle down.
I was like, I remember Ekta had said this. Ekta had said this, when on our first day of promotions, that she's constantly asked this, that, settle down. She's like, I am settled. I don't think I can be, I don't think I can. So, there's so many questions.
Yeah. Now I just want to unsettle people. Now जितने भी लोग settled हैं, उसको unsettle करना.
Correct. Which is what this film is doing actually. Wonderful.
And I value my female friendships so much. And again, I've seen my mother also have those friendships. Because when we lost our father, it were all my aunts, like my mom's best friends, were the ones that held her on with all their might. you know, that were just there supporting her. They were the ones that made sure that we were nurtured to the best of their ability as well. And I have seen the way my female friends, and obviously as you grow older you value female friendships a lot more. I'm very fortunate to have had amazing men in my life as well, but there's some empathy that women share, you know, because there's some experiences that are common, you know, that the other gender would never ever feel. So I feel it's just all of that I kind of channelized into Kanika Kapoor, and this is this film is very personal to me, and that's why I had that breakdown yesterday.
No, it's beautiful. Karan, I want to ask you, because a lot of the film is about female bonding and also extremely private and personal and intimate things about women's lives. To you, was there also a lot of things that were a revelation and was an important part of the film? Staying out of it and listening actually and absorbing things were the things that were a revelation to you. And how do you think this film is also going to appeal to men? I think there's a lot of messages for men as well. So on all these counts, please.
While we were writing this film, a lot of my wife's friends were single. Okay. And they would come to our house, and it was a safe space, and they would pour their hearts out, and I'm lurking around in the spaces there, and listening to with what honesty and confidence would they say the most embarrassing things that happened to them. I didn't see this with my friends, with my guy friends who I've known for maybe 20 years. It took us, we would usually talk about each other, but it wouldn't happen in front of each other. But I would see this with all her friends, that they would come in and they would pour their heart out and reveal all these, to me, funny anecdotes, but to them it's a lot of pain and suffering and shame that they went through with not just guys, but with just trying to find work and the pressures of getting married, to a boy that was cheating on them, to maybe another girl that made them feel like this. And I felt there's so much of honesty here, and you know, so when we're working on the script, it's like I have got access to, you know, one of their WhatsApp groups, you know, and it feels honest enough, you know. And there's always this discussion at home, which is, you know, it started with when I was growing up at home with my sister, and I would say life's better for you, and she'd say, no, you're a guy, life's better for you, and it would keep going on, and then you get married, and then you'd say, you know, it's better off for you, and then and you say, no, it's better off for you. And we kept going around this discussion, and I felt, you know, it's not man versus woman as much as it is we both are victims to a system, an invisible patriarchal system, where, I mean, it's strange that you have to decide, or you are pre-decided on what your life will be based on your gender. You know, I think that is something that you see with the younger generation, that they are so much more open and liberal to this idea that, you know, I'm gender free, you know, so that I don't have to carry the pressures of supporting a home if I'm a man, or having a baby, a child if I'm only a woman. You can see things evolve, and you know, so it
would also include and had a transgender as well. So it was
of course, and that one of the things was where we while casting for that particular role we found the right guy, but then, like I said, we'll have to teach him this whole gig, you know, of okay, how are you going to dance, how are you going to behave. And I said, you know, I sat with Rhea, and we said, I don't want to do that, I want to enjoy it, you know. I don't want to like quote somebody in this, you know. And there are so many people who can bring authenticity to this, and so when you see that scene play out, it's a celebration. It's not
song and dance, and it's very beautifully come.
It isn't a gag,
right?
You know, it isn't like, okay, laugh at this, you know. It's someone's life, you know. And and I think that's what was the most beautiful part about trying to make this film.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So lovely. Ekta ji, I wanted to ask you, you're quite radically different as a person in terms of what you've achieved for yourself, for your success, your independence, and the way you've shaped the industry in many ways in film, in television. What would you say were very crucial things about your growing up years and what you absorbed from your parents? And what is it that defines the core of your character? What is it that shaped you to be what you are today?
So I think, I think I was also very different from a lot of other kids. So here I was, when I was young, I was in a dance class with all my father's peers' kids, and they were all becoming actors. And I was the only one there, sent there to lose weight. So I was like,
familiar.
So I was the one that no one expected anything from.
Was it liberating? I'm curious.
It was liberating.
Maybe devastating yet.
It was liberating to the point that I felt like, okay, great. So actually, I was the only one sitting there, and my mom would like now put me on a budget and tell me that you're not doing anything in life. You need to do something in life. I was like, I need to buy my local sugar, fix. So I would be like discussing with one girl saying, you're not dancing well enough, and she would want to know what the other one says. She's done a really good dance, and get like a proper meal done by them, and they take me out for treats. So I'm like with the same generation that I'm growing up with, but none of them are expecting me, or I'm not a threat to any of them.
Wow.
So I'm living my life thinking, maximum what can happen with me, I'll earn 20,000 rupees a month and settle down, because you don't even know that there can be anything more happening in your life, because no one has any expectation from you. And then one day my dad was very uncomfortable with it. He kept telling me, this is not the way you should be. See, I don't have a problem if you want to get married or anything, but you should want to do something in life. And he's like, he said, do something, and I would avoid him because that conversation triggered me and rattled me. I was very happy doing nothing. And then he told me, he started this company called Dolphin Films, and I decided to sit on a script, and suddenly I found my calling.
Wow, lovely.
And I was like, I have to make something out of this. That company shut down. I said, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to call it Balaji Telefilms. And I was 17 years old.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I have to make this happen, because this is my calling and I have no plan B. No one is going to launch me. I will have to do it.
Wow.
So
wow.
that how.
Where did that incredible switch come from? People not believing in you to your believing in yourself so much.
I just found my calling. I was like, I enjoyed writing a script so much. Suddenly I felt I found a voice. I had no voice. Every day I wanted to become something new. Suzanne is becoming a designer. I'm becoming a designer with Suzanne. Wow, Susie, what are you doing? I'm getting into interior design. I'm joining you.
It's a real thing.
And then you realize that what is my voice? And here I am finding myself releasing all my traumas that I didn't even know existed through a story. Wow. And I was like, this is great. I'm feeling and knowing, and then I was like, I'm going to do this. But I know one thing, that because I'm not becoming an actor, no one is going to launch me, first of all, if I don't go ahead and diet, which I didn't want to do. And
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And I was like, and
smart.
I won't even enjoy it. Getting ready today is so tough for me. Imagine then. Then I was like, this is me. This is me. I want to say things. I don't want to say it in front of the camera. I have no plan B. No one is launching me. I need to do this for myself. And I think the best thing in life is having no plan B.
Wow. Bravo.
These plan Bs
Jamela, Locha.
don't have a plan B. It's this or nothing.
Yeah. Wow.
You know?
Fantastic. It's a live in film, I think, do or die. Fantastic. This is wonderful to hear. Anil, more last wrap-up words with what happened last night, and where do you want to take that energy forward with the film's release?
Well, I think now it's, Ekta and Rhea, it's their responsibility. And whatever they ask me to do, I'm going to do.
So lovely.
Yeah.
I have to say this about him. I told my dad also that if we have been able to so-called smash patriarchy, it's because our parents, especially our fathers, gave us the gloves.
Oh, that is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And this gift,
she wrote a beautiful message. Obviously, then I was very upset, very jealous of Ekta, and I called her Rhea also. She sent a message, and I'm not supposed to tell you, but I'm going to tell you. I said, if you have fathers like y'all, we don't need angels.
Oh.
So he was so moved, and so I said, Rhea, why couldn't you write that to me?
She says that about you all the time.
Oh.
She says that about you all the time. And that's the best thing, it's not about gender. I think our parents, including our fathers, have been non-patriarchal.
Yeah.
That's true.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Yeah. At times conformist,
Yeah.
but not patriarchal.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Share. You wanted to share something.
I've actually forgotten. What I was going to say is that now that I've spent some time with Anil sir and a lot of time with Rhea, I just see the resemblance, and this is resemblance of thought. There is so much of what she says, and then when he's been so kind. I remember the first time he watched the film, he called me and he spoke to me for like 40 minutes. I was like, oh my god, like I was just so flattered, and with his stature, with everything that he has achieved in life, with his experience, he just had the kindest things to say, and he is so motivating. I mean, every time I'm with him, he'll only tell me things of wisdom, kind words, and somewhere in your life you don't have such energies often, that can guide you in many ways, and he's like he's just there. So and I know you honestly, we feel so fortunate, really.
Very delighted. We are missing Rhea very much, but very much. Big shout out to you.
He's missing her a lot.
Yeah.
He said the sweetest thing yesterday. We recorded a video and we sent it to Rhea as well. I was like, Karan, what do you want to do? I just want to be home.
Oh.
He took a pause. We were like, oh, with my wife right now. My heart melted. They are so beautiful.
I can't tell you, he got jealous about the angels video. I got jealous about that.
That is so lovely.
Sending messages to her.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So she's very much here in our presence and in our hearts. So every good wish for the film. May it fly like a rocket and shake the world. Thank you very much for making it.
Meenakshi.
Thank you for giving me your time. Thank you.